Hello everybody, it's Tsunami on the beat, and I'm back with another video. Now, on the search for more content to not only expose myself, but to expose my thoughts and what I think is bullshit in this world, I've come across someone named Cyhax. Now, this goes back into the realm of Red Pill. I fight against the Red Pill. I think I've noticed that's my niche right now, because it's still going strong in 2024. Now, I would consider Cyhax a red pill psychologist. He has a degree, he's educated, so this is definitely a smart man. It's different from everyone else we've been looking at. This is definitely someone that has an intellectual backing to everything he's saying. Now, personally, I want to see where the line crosses between using your education to allow this bullshit, but we'll see. With that being said, this video is called Women's Greatest Enemy, Overcoming Pride. And I think pride is something that everyone has an issue with. Why is it just women? Why is everything just women? I feel like a big part of the red pill philosophy is to objectify women so much that they accept that the only commodity they have is the fact that they have a body and sex. Like I feel like it's just meant to bring the woman down, to base carnal desires, which is disgusting, if you ask me. But let's hear what this guy has to say, huh?
Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psychax, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is women's greatest enemy. And I'm talking about women's greatest enemy in the context of the sexual marketplace. What is the one thing that most prevents women from getting the relationships they want with the men they want to have them with? It's very simple, ladies. In a word, women's greatest enemy is pride.
All right, I don't want to assume too much, but he was very specific. We're looking at in the sexual marketplace. So, first of all, does that mean dating? What does that mean, the sexual marketplace? Are we talking about prostitution, uh, girls that are just promiscuous in the clubs, and like what do we mean the sexual marketplace? We must be talking about dating, but a big point with these red pill guys is that guys can date whoever, fuck whoever, but girls must be monogamous because of high value. It's a lot. We'll get into it piece by piece if we need to, but it's a lot.
Your greatest enemy is pride. Everything you want with respect to men is on the other side of that pride. I alluded to this fact in my series, How to Get Any Man You Want. Let me tell you, ladies, pride is very cold company. It will not keep you warm at night. And in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing 3 of the main ways your pride is keeping you single.
All right, before we get even into that, pride. I think everyone should have pride. Everyone. You should be prideful in yourself, prideful in the things you do, prideful in the company you keep, whatever you want to be prideful in, you should have it. I believe he's saying overcome pride in that a woman should be more submissive to her man than women nowadays, and shouldn't be allow themselves to allow their ego. I think ego is going to come up. I believe that he believes that women should not allow their ego to unallow them to do certain things for the man. Main thing being, if the man wants to cheat, hey, you have a good life. You're getting paid for. People cater to you. You're living a comfortable life. Why would you throw that all away because he doesn't love you? Why would you throw that all away? That's stupid. Like that, to me, that's the most disgusting thing about the red pill. But we'll see his points. We'll refute them, and we'll get into it. But before that, please like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job so I can do more.
First and foremost, your pride tells you that you are the prize, and you are not, at least not after you turn 30. At 30, the average man's sexual marketplace value exceeds the average woman's sexual marketplace value for the very first time, and that gap only increases as time goes on. Believing that you are the prize intrinsically and not just the prize relatively and temporarily is pride. It's this pride that motivates you to squander your most fertile and attractive years, the years in which you would most be able to secure a committed relationship with a high value man, on either having fun or prioritizing your career. You've conflated the privileged moment you pass through with your inherent self-worth. And this is why you think that there's no hurry. Once the prize, always the prize. This sense of pride also stops you from initiating. Like, why would I do that? I shouldn't have to make anything happen for myself. That's the man's job. And anyway, it will happen when it happens. I have plenty of time. Okay, just go back in time like 60 years. Men didn't pursue women. It was women who pursued men. It was women who dragged men, sometimes kicking and screaming, to the altar. And they did this because they are the ones on a tighter timeline. For better or worse, women don't have the same luxury of waiting around as men do. Back then, everyone understood that if a woman wanted a relationship, she had to get out there and make it happen. And this sense of urgency has been disrupted by the twin beliefs, I'm the prize and I have plenty of time, generated by pride. The fact of the matter is that it has never been easier in the history of the world for women to get access to the men they want to have relationships with. With social media, you can find the hottest, richest, most eligible bachelors anywhere in the world and slide right into their DMs. And if your pics are good enough, you actually might get a response. That won't be enough to seal the deal, but you can at least get your foot in the door. What you do with that opportunity is up to you. And yet, even with this unprecedented access to high-value men, which allows you to safely and freely and instantly connect with almost anyone on this planet, you still don't initiate. And this makes it very difficult to sympathize with women who are single and don't want to be. Like, get off your ass and do something about it. If you're unemployed and don't want to be, make it your job to get a job. And if you're single and don't want to be, make it your job to get a relationship. Expecting that the relationship that you want is just going to fall into your lap is as arrogant as expecting that your dream job is somehow just going to materialize into your life. Okay? All right. The second way that...
Okay. So he said a lot there. Let's try to debunk, or at least talk about every single one. So the main thing he said for his point was that women believe that they are the prize. And while it is true, there is a biological clock. If you want children, yes. If you're a woman, that clock exists. Your body, so many things can happen. It's understandable. I believe that's a big factor when it comes to women, certain women that want to get in relationships. I get that. But for him to say that women who believe intrinsically they are the prize, which is pride, 100%, that is pride. But if you're saying that that pride is getting in the way of them seeking a man, a high value man specifically, maybe. But does that mean that if they're not seeking a high value man, their value is just lower after 30? Why is it after 30 their value is lower? Because they're getting closer to the kids, to not having to have kids? My understanding of a high value man, these high value men in the red pill space, is that all they really want to do is just have sex. That's it. And if they find the person that they're going to have sex with for a while, then they'll make them like a main girl, but not the girl. And a lot of women, I think a lot of people, want love. They're looking for love, looking for that real connection, that instant connection, something that's lasting. And if it takes a while to find it, it takes a while to find it. Not everyone's so pressed or so upset to find someone that's gonna take care of them the rest of their life. Some people are, don't get me wrong, but some people have enough pride where they value themselves. And as individuals, I value that. Don't get me wrong at all, as long as you're happy. But for him to say that women should make it their job to find a relationship, which means that they should kill their pride, In a grand sense, yes, that makes sense. But when you specifically are trying to make it with this red pill rhetoric, mm-mm. And it's the same thing you can say with a lot of guys too. If I really wanted to be in a relationship, I would go to clubs, talk to more people. I would put myself more out there in order to get a relationship, or I would at least make more connections. But if I don't, I must be working on other things that I find more important. I'm not waiting for a relationship to fall into my lap, but if one comes and I enjoy it, I will pursue it with my whole heart. So I don't like what he says about that. The urgency thing, yeah, I get it. A lot of women do find that urgency when they want to have kids, but a lot of them don't also, And some women believe that they're enough for a high value man. And I guess the big argument that I've seen Myron and Fresh on Fresh and Fit they use all the time is that there's just so little high value men. Remember, specifically high value men. And that's all women want. But aren't we just looking at the women who are specifically, I don't want to say it, but gold diggerish? They care more about money and status, right? Isn't that also like a certain subsection of women? It's not every woman. Like, I'm pretty sure we can categorize the type of women high value men go for, if you ask me. But I think there's something else about his point I wanted to talk about. Let me see.
Your career. You've conflated the privileged moment you pass through with your inherent self-worth.
Yeah, okay, so what does it mean, the privileged moment? If you're with someone that you like, any moment is privileged. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about they're privileged because they are, one, lower body count, and two, are younger, right? So that means they're more in their prime. I guess because again, he's looking at it as just a sexual marketplace. So if you're disgusting, then yes, you're going to just say, "Uh-huh, women are their hottest when they just turn 18." Like you're going to say that shit. Like that's you're going to believe that wholeheartedly with your whole chest. So yes, if you want to use the specific terms and realms that he's phrasing everything in, 100%. But you're a fucking creep, if you ask me. Anyway, that's his first point.
Okay? All right. The second way that pride is obstructing your success is that it's causing you to disparage male sexuality. A lot of Western women even seem to find male sexual interest insulting. Like men should be appreciating the beauty of your mind and the depths of your soul rather than your physical appearance. You think that our attraction has little to do with you, like the person inside your body, and that in any case, if we just want sex, we'd just be better off hiring a prostitute. The attitude is basically that sex and physical attraction are beneath you, which is a form of pride. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing,
he did a promo there. That's why there's a cut. No free promos. Subscribe to some Tsunami.
Now, this might hurt some feelings, but ladies, you have to understand that if men did not experience sexual attraction to you, the vast majority of them would have nothing to do with you. Like nothing. This is because men can generally get all their other needs met more cheaply, more easily, and more enjoyably with other men. Like, I would rather talk about quantum mechanics and Shakespearean literature with other men. I'd rather problem solve with and confide in other men. I'd rather hang out with and have fun with other men. Like, do you see? Without my sexual attraction, which as a heterosexual man is primed for feminine traits more generally, I might only rarely have dealings with women in the normal course of events. And this is really how humans have organically organized themselves across culture and throughout history. Men generally spend their time with other men. Women generally spend their time with other women. And there's some social commingling at the end of the day. So rather than see male sexual interest through the lens of your pride as something beneath you, ladies, you can see it as an opportunity to gain access to a particular man who may not yet have another reason for dealing with you. I get that you want to be seen for who you are deep down inside, but spoiler alert, we can't fucking see who you are deep down inside. What we see is your body. And if we didn't see that, we probably wouldn't be making the effort to see anything else. What's more, we can hear what comes out of your mouth. Now, I can appreciate that unwanted sexual interest is awkward and uncomfortable. I get that. However, if the first thing that comes out of your mouth in response to my attraction is criticism, judgment, and shame, I don't think I really want to know who you are deep down inside. What's just on the inside is distasteful enough. And the third thing that gets in women's way in the sense of their pride.
Okay. So let's talk about this. He said his second point was pride is causing women to disparage male sexuality, mainly sexual interest in them. If a guy comes up and says, "Hey, I like you," what that mouth do type shit, right? Oh, well, some women will be turned off, and it's understandable. I get that. I 100% get that. I think a lot of it is just approach, but he's not incorrect when he says that for men, a lot of men that go up to women is sexual interest. Yeah, 108. Me too. I think also for a lot of women, it's the same thing. But just because sexual interest is the first thing on your mind doesn't mean it has to be the first thing out your mouth. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, some women don't like to be approached, and generally men do like to be approached. That's just how I've seen things and felt things as a guy. But I don't get his point when he said that he would rather do certain intellectual things with a man versus a woman. Like, okay, sure. Let's say I have sexual attraction, whatever. Even if I don't have sexual attraction, but let's say I have sexual attraction. What's the issue of me also talking intellectual stuff with a woman? Whether I'm gonna date them or not. Like, what's the why would I not prefer that? I don't I don't prefer arguing with men or talking with other men about these kind of things over a woman. It's equal. If anyone can talk to me about this, if they have the intellect, I'll do it. I just feel like in all of his rhetoric, he's devaluing women. That he's devaluing the woman's ability to be anything more than her body. That she should be less prideful and more accepting of the fact that her body and her, at this point, is a commodity. Now, he's not incorrect, though. How we speak to each other is going to initiate how we continue with each other. But I don't agree with his statements. Simple as that.
Pride is their contempt for anything related to domesticity. Cooking, cleaning, childcare. Just hire a maid. Just hire a nanny. You think that this is low-value, degrading work that, in any case, would prevent you from fulfilling what is apparently your true calling in life, being an employee. The same women who insist that they could never, ever be obedient to a man spend the majority of their lives being obedient to their often male employers. They trade a family for a paycheck. This is the pride that cuts off the nose to spite the face. Ladies, you need to closely examine what is actually so distasteful to you about domestic activities. I recently watched a podcast episode in which an attractive young woman was asked whether she would ever do her man's laundry. And she literally shuddered with revulsion. It was like the question triggered some repressed trauma, and this woman was transported back to The Handmaid's Tale, where a simple act of service was the gateway to patriarchal oppression. It's not. It's laundry, which, thanks to modern technology, is literally the easiest of all the household chores to complete. You're not down at the riverbank with a washboard scrubbing out the stains with a lye you rendered yourself from pig fat. You're moving the clothes from the hamper to the washer and pushing a button. Laundry is not your enemy. It's your idea of laundry that is. And this goes for most of the other domestic activities. As I mentioned in the first episode of this series, the key to getting the relationship you want with the man you want to have it with is to be useful. And in order to be useful, you have to allow yourself to be used. Your pride will rankle at that, but that's a fact. The good news is that as long as you exercise good discernment, you will be rewarded for being used. It's just like a job. Because you allow other people to use your time and skills and expertise, you are compensated with money. If you didn't allow people to use you, you don't get paid, right? The same is true for relationships. If you want a high-value relationship, you must allow yourselves to be used, and to be used in the way that those who are paying, i.e. the men you want to have a relationship with, want to use you. And keep in mind that if something's not useful, it's decoration. So ladies, if you don't want to be useful, then you damn well better be decorative. And the fact of the matter is that most of you are not attractive enough to be decorative, and that you might not like it even if you were. Why? Because what do decorations do? Nothing. They sit nice and quiet up on a shelf where they belong, attesting to the reflected status of the man who bought them. So if you want a relationship with a man that isn't primarily decorative, then you have to allow yourselves to be used by him. If not, then you are useless, and the world will pass you by. The things that make a man's life easier and better are not beneath you. They are your ticket in. So those are the 3 ways that pride is standing in your way, ladies. Resolve these issues, and you too can have the relationships that you want with the men you want to have them with.
Okay, so that last part was not expected, but it was expected. Like, alluded to that the whole damn time. Look, ultimately, he's saying, okay, so if you can't get the high value man you want, be attractive enough, and then boom, you can be his sex slave. You can be his whore. You can be his mistress. You can be something on the side. That's all he's saying at the end of that. He's saying if you really want a relationship and you can't be the main girl, if you know you will never be the main girl, but you want this specific relationship with this specific high value man, degrade yourself, kill your pride. Who the fuck are you? Just be a decoration that knows and does nothing. Oh my god. Look, let me just say this. He's very correct when you say the one high value relationship in your, like, just high value. Like, if you want a relationship that is of high value, yes, you have to be used and asked and use the other, right? It has to be back and forth, but it can't be like a job. Obviously, you shouldn't use the person too much and they shouldn't use you too much, but as long as there's a strong foundation of love, trust, loyalty, it doesn't matter. You guys will make it work, be fine. That's love. But I agree that if you can't sacrifice certain things for your partner, you shouldn't be in a relationship. It's understandable. But what he's saying is that if you want to be in a high value relationship and the man doesn't want you as a main piece, you have to kill your pride if you still want to have that ticket in. If you still want to be a part of this lifestyle, there's certain things you have to give up, which includes your humanity. And I can never agree with that. There's just no way I can agree with that. Oh, God. So that was that. I'm not gonna lie, I should have been prepared with the notepad in the beginning. Again, he's an intellectual. I said that in the beginning. I just should have been prepared. But I hope I countered his points well. There's a few more videos by him we're going to check out. So subscribe, stay tuned, and that's it. This is Tsunami shining out. Peace.